the atmosphere of Fat Lil's Bar and Grill, Glovebox's Nick John interviews Danni Nicholls.
Since you've gone, I've tried to find a better place, some peace of mind. I haven't even cried. Morning comes, moving slow.
Welcome, Danni. Welcome to Whitney.
Thank you.
Ahead of your gig this evening.
Lovely to be here.
Thank you. Q magazine describes you as smoky soul, folk pop.
Yeah.
I need to say fop there. Folk pop.
That's a new one.
Olds country. There's only heavy metal missing.
Yeah.
How would you describe your music?
It is a bit of a melting pot, yeah. I like so many different styles of music, and I have always just thrown them in a pot, mushed it about, and then see what comes out the other side. And it does seem to be pretty. It spans the spectrum. Americana music. I'm a big fan of that term, just because it's so all-encompassing, and my music kind of fits under that umbrella. I just sort of grew up with all sorts of different American roots music, and I love it all. So
what were your primary influences then?
Well, the early years were a lot of old school country, and in the family parties, and we'd go to my grandmother's house, and they'd always have a lot of country music on in the early days, and then at parties we'd have all the rock and roll, Elvis and Eddie Cochran, and then I started learning the saxophone when I was 9, so I listened to all the big band, old jazz stuff, and so just as I've gone through my life and gone through the different eras of listening to certain music, and but it has always seemed to be American flavoured roots music. I don't know, maybe I was in a previous life I feel like I may have lived in the 1950s in America. That's what I think happened. Yeah.
That's good. I don't actually like the term singer-songwriter anymore. I've kind of gone off it because it just, to me now, it's just...
You can't tell. What does that mean?
Yeah, it says everything and nothing at the same time,
yeah.
Doesn't it? How do you write? How do you go about it? Is it with the melody, vocal melody, or do you start with chords?
It's different every time, really, honestly. Sometimes I can be strumming away on my guitar, just chilling out, and something will present itself in a musical form with no lyrics. And then I might go through old lyrics that I've written without music, and they sometimes magically fuse together in this weird way. But sometimes full songs fall out, and I don't know where they come. They sort of just present themselves. The muse. It shows up now and again, rarely, but when it does, that's always the best.
It never shows up when you need it.
No, when you're trying, always, when you're on like a train or something and you haven't got your guitar. But actually, I write a lot of lyrics on trains and planes and buses, so travelling is really good for me lyrically. And then I usually, try and put the music to it later, or bring those lyrics to someone else. I do a lot of co-writing, so I love to get together with other songwriters and work together, and there's this energy and this buzz that you can't quite get when you're on your own. So, I like to mix it up, and it's always different.
I was going to ask you about your journey, how you got here. I did that once, and the guy said by train. So I won't do. I'm your musical journey.
Yes.
You were born in Bedford, but you've ended up in Nashville doing your 2 albums out there. Now it would seem to me kind of Hollywood-esque in a way.
It's a beautiful thing. I still can't.
Tell us about you meeting Chris Donahue and Hugh Harris, and how you ended up in Nashville.
I love telling this story. It doesn't fully feel like my story, because I'm like, wow, it's so cool. But I'm a huge Emmylou Harris fan. So if we're going way back, then I picked up the saxophone when I was 9. I was always doing music, and then I inherited a guitar from an uncle when I was about 16, and then I never looked back. I learnt a chord, and I started writing my own materials. Pretty natural kind of thing, and just knew immediately that I wanted to really give this a good shot. So I've sort of been doing it fully since I was 16. And then, yeah, huge Emmylou Harris fan. So I went along to my first ever Emmylou concert in London with a friend who happened to know her bass player through another musical contact. He sort of sent him a message saying, we're coming to the show, and then he came out and said hello to us before the show, and that was Chris Donahue. And we got on really well that time, and I had a trip to Nashville scheduled as a tourist. You know, I was going to go over and like soak up the sights, and so I told him that that's my plan, and he gave me his card, and he was like, you know, if you're in town, then let's go for a coffee and I can tell you about the city. And but actually he came to a showcase that I was doing and seemed to like the stuff, and you know, the rest is history. So we ended up working together on the first album.
So you were in one of the bars and the joints along Broadway.
Not actually.
Doing the showcase.
Well, I have done that a few times. They're amazing. They just say, "Oh, you're from England. You play the guitar. Get on off the stage." And a few times I've been thrust onto the stage on Broadway, which again is a beautiful thing.
Hey, this was
I know, it's pretty cool. But this was at the Family Wash, this amazing little place that no longer is in that situation. In East Nashville, they've moved, but that's where Chris came, and yeah, the rest is history. And we've done 2 albums together, and he's just such he's a musical genius. He's a lovely human being. He's got some really good friend contacts, musical contacts, and so he called up his buddies, and they all came down and played on the album, and I still can't believe it. Good times.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So you've done 2 albums,
Yes.
A Little Redemption, and the new one,
Mockingbird Lane. Yeah.
So how have you felt that there's been progression and things between the 2 albums?
Certainly. I mean, I was, it was my first real proper album recording. It was in Nashville. It was, I was a little starstruck probably, and a little shy maybe. So the first album is pretty mellow. I mean, there's some grit in there, but I think the confidence, just having done it once before with the same team, the second album, it's just got a bit more oomph, I think. I'm a bit more confident. Maybe I've matured a little, in my writing, and also life experiences, had a few more of those to bring to the table. So yeah, I think overall it's just to get a bit more grit, slightly more live sounding. That's what we wanted anyway. I mean, it's still it's produced and engineered really well, and it's pretty slick, but there's this energy to it that's a bit more live sounding.
I was really impressed with the opening track, Long Road Home.
Oh, thank you.
It's got a classic feel to it. I just thought
pleased
it was
you said that. Thank you.
Song. Really, I'm not saying the others were, but that one particularly struck me.
I think that's why we put it first. It's a bit of a hard-hitting kind of like opener. So I'm glad you said that. Thank you.
Myself in the eye, asking why there's nothing going on inside.
And you're in the middle of a UK tour.
Yeah, smack bang in the middle.
But you're playing solo, so you don't play with a band yet, or?
Actually, I play most of this tour is with Max Milligan, guitar player, who's incredible. He's also from Bedford. Known him a long time, and we've done all of this tour together. And we have done 1 band show on this tour. It's not hugely sustainable to do all the shows as a band, but I love to do it. And actually it makes it a bit more special when we can make it work, So hopefully there'll be more to come on the band front. But yeah, Max and I go out as a duo, and sometimes I do solo stuff as well. So I love all of them bring a different thing to the table, so it's good to mix it up. Yeah.
And you're playing a lot of nice, what I call sort of small venues, cafe, arts bars, these kind of things.
Yeah, again.
There's a lot of live music now starting to happen around places, isn't it? It's not
so many
just the
spaces are opening.
Chains.
Exactly.
It's fine little places, and the audiences are receptive. It's great. Yeah,
for sure, and that's music to my ears. Like having more places to play, because there's a lot of us out there, playing our music to people, and I love to play in quirky, funny, strange places. Like last summer, I was playing in someone's hayloft in the middle of Wales. I thought, there's no one going to come to this. Like, I can't see any houses anywhere. And suddenly 50 people turned up, and we're in there's chickens downstairs, and we're in a hayloft. And just, house concerts are great like that, and cafes, and
it's a lovely
keeps it interesting.
Counterbalance to the internet and Facebook and Twitter, isn't it?
Yeah.
To do these sort of organic shows.
Oh, for sure.
In the middle of nowhere.
That's where the magic happens, and where you can connect to people, and they don't, you know, they're not saturated with stuff going on all the time, so they really, like, you can feel the energy in the room, that they're loving it and you're loving it, and it's good vibes.
What are your plans for the future moving forward, you know, the rest of this year?
Another tour coming up later in the year, but before that I am going to move into a writing phase. So I've had my business hat on, getting this album out, and I'm just ready to just spend some time with my guitar and see what comes out and start writing. And I don't know, you know, exactly when another album might be on the cards, but you know, it's probably not far off.
So this guitar, is this Billy Fury's guitar?
This is not, no.
Come on, tell us about Billy Fury's guitar.
No, that's safely kept safely away. I would love to bring her out. She is a electric kind of jazz guitar kind of thing, and I haven't fully ventured into the electric guitar world. I'm still pretty acoustic. But yeah, my uncle Heathcliff, apparently the story is that my uncle Heathcliff, in, I don't know, I guess the 60s or maybe the 70s, he bought this guitar off his mate in the pub in West Hampstead, and his mate had bought it off Billy Fury, and then I got presented it from my grandmother from the loft. She has so many stories in her.
Absolutely.
And I sort of wish I could get to the bottom of whether it's true or not, but sort of don't as well, if you know what I mean.
Yeah,
you know, like that mystery. It's like,
it might be really mundane.
Yeah, it's, so in my mind it's Billy Fury's old guitar, and I don't want to be proved otherwise particularly.
Leave the magic alone.
Yeah.
That's brilliant. Well, thank you very much for talking to us, Danni.
Thank you for
hope the show goes well tonight, and best of luck.
Thank you.
That was a broadcast production by Glovebox Live.uk.